welcome this afternoon. It's good to see many of you here. Well, good to see all of you here, I guess I should say. Who's not here is Mayor John Lewis. He is en route. He will be here probably as I'm standing up here speaking. And he would want us to welcome every single one of you to council chambers today for this opportunity, this very important opportunity for us to listen and learn from the 4 candidates for the new town attorney position. And so a couple of housekeeping announcements here at the beginning. For those that are here in council chambers, there are public comment cards that are available in the back at the table back there. Please feel free to fill them out and leave them there, and our staff will collect them and they will be integrated into the process. Also, for those of you who may not know, at 5 o'clock this evening, there's an opportunity to get to know the candidates better. There will be a meet and greet with the community right out here in the first floor lobby. And so we'd invite each and all of you to participate and get to know each of the candidates a little bit better. What we will do today is each candidate will be making a presentation to the council and those assembled here. And they will, I'm not sure how much time they have, but I'm sure there'll be a timer somewhere, Mark, right? They know. Okay. All right. Perfect. And so we will, what we're going to do is begin in this, or we'll go in this order. Colleen Auer, Nick D. Piazza, Joseph Padilla, and Michael Hamblin. That's the order that we'll proceed in. We welcome each of you here. We're thankful that you would consider applying and working with the town of Gilbert. We look forward to learning from you. We look forward to your expertise and wish you the best in this process and in this presentation. So we'll start with Colleen Auer. She is the managing member of the Auer Law Firm, where she provides legal, training, and consulting services to businesses and educators in the areas of corporate compliance, business litigation, and related transactional law. Former positions held include Director of Business Affairs and Senior Counsel for the Basis Educational Group, Deputy Town Attorney for the Town of Prescott Valley, and Assistant Attorney General for the State of Arizona. And as Mayor Lewis has just entered, I will easily and quickly turn the meeting over to him if he would like to make a couple of quick comments at the outset here, knowing that we've just kind of introduced what's going to be happening and introduced our first candidate, who's going to be Colleen. So, Mayor, here's your packet. Welcome. And
don't you think he's doing a good job? Let's give Vice Mayor Cooper a big round of applause. I think just carry on. Keep going.
Okay. So, Colleen will give you the microphone.
Well, good afternoon, Mayor and Council and town staff, members of the audience. I appreciate the opportunity to talk with you all. So given my time frame here, I'm going to go and get right to it. Let me see if I can work the technology here. So I'd like to take a few minutes to introduce myself. I will try not to tread over ground that's already been covered by the Vice Mayor. I want to talk to you about why I have the background and experience and qualifications needed for the position. I am a USC Law grad. I am admitted to practice in Arizona and California. I have over 20 years of legal experience, 15 of which have been as a litigator in private practice. I also have served as corporate counsel. As the Vice Mayor indicated, I was Deputy Town Attorney for the Town of Prescott Valley for over 5 years. And then I went to work as General Counsel for Basis Educational Group, which is a private management company for Basis charter schools in the state of Arizona and outside of Arizona. These are the particular qualifications, skills, if you will, that I've acquired in my time in my years of legal practice. The significant experience that I bring to the table is a great deal of time managing outside counsel as corporate counsel. And it is a very active role because it's important to ensure the strategy of outside counsel aligns with the best interests of the municipality. Sometimes that may be early settlement, sometimes it may not be settlement at all. It may be a trial in judgment in favor of the community. So it is very important to be a participant in that, to know how litigation works. And thankfully, I have that broad experience as a litigator in private practice. So I know how it works, and I can keep the litigation moving in the right direction. I can also ensure that the billing is reasonable and appropriate. In addition, I have unique experience in personnel matters. As corporate counsel, having served in that role for some 6 years, you not only see personnel matters developing, but you also deal with them as outside litigation. So I have been able to work internally to resolve personnel matters that have surfaced. I've also been able to manage employment lawsuits effectively against either the corporation or the municipality that I'm working for. Finally, in terms of particular legal matters, I have relevant municipal experience in a broad array of municipal legal matters because I come from a town legal department that is very lean, just as the council envisions the department that they're trying to assemble here. And because of that, I had to become a jack of all trades. I had to learn to do every aspect of municipal law, and I did that for over 5 years. As a litigator, I also gained important experience in several areas that are often topics of litigation for municipalities. Everything from securities, the standard tort contract, you know, it's all legal speak, but the bottom line is very common types of legal issues that come up against the town. And I've seen them both from the orientation of representing the municipality as well as a lawyer out there either bringing or defending those cases. And that gives me a great perspective in how to conduct that litigation and manage it effectively. These are just a list of the key skills that I think are very important to bring to the job. Negotiation skills are critical for development and, you know, basic transaction work for the town. I've had to do in negotiations in a number of contexts, so I feel very comfortable in that circumstance. I've dealt with every sort of personality you can think of when it comes to negotiations. I'm able to adjust my style to deal with different personalities, which I think is extremely important. You also have to know your audience. If I need something from the court, for example, or another government agency, and I want them to prioritize that, I need to deal with them differently than I would in a situation where I'm managing outside litigation and the town is paying their bill. They're different. You're in a different position, and you have to deal with the person differently. So, for example, if I'm dealing with the courts, I'm going to understand they don't have to prioritize my project, and I am going to effusively thank them for moving my project forward, and in so doing, getting progress until we get it completed. I also am able to draft not only the standard contracts, but also complex one-of-a-kind contracts where there really is no roadmap. For example, when I worked for the town of Prescott Valley, I drafted the first of its kind effluent water auction transaction. So these are the kinds of things where there's unique opportunities. I'm able to put paperwork together without the need to have a standard contract. The rest of these deal with juggling tasks and the kinds of things that you need to be able to do as a town attorney in a lien department. Finally, I have a very good sense of the legal community. I know the players in the legal community. I know their expertise. I've worked with them. I know how to evaluate their performance. And I also know the court system very well. I'm familiar with the judges, not every judge, but lots of the judges. And that sometimes becomes a very important component to case outcome and case success. Judge selection is also critical. So I bring that to the table as well. Now, let me get to the key questions that council wants addressed by the candidates today. And I see these as really the key concerns that council has. They want to know how I'm going to put together a lean legal department and not turn it into an in-house law firm. What my plan is, short-term, to make the legal department a cost-effective contributor to the town's bottom line. And finally, do I have a strategic vision for the legal department, and if so, what is it? The answer to that is resoundingly yes, I've got a plan, and let me set out for you my vision of what the legal department would look like. It is lean in every respect. It is composed of, obviously, the town attorney, a core position, which I would call a paralegal admin assistant. This person would serve in a dual role. There is great benefit and advantage to having somebody who not only can backstop the department in terms of administrative work, but also to provide an additional resource for legal research and writing. A paralegal can do a lot of important legal work at a much more cost-effective rate than an assistant town attorney. And so I would suggest that that would be the first position I would recommend to council, would be let me get a core person in the middle of the department who's going to backstop the department in two areas. Then I'm going to propose something that's unique, but I also think is important in two ways. One, it's cost effective. The other, it is a great sort of leadership position the town could take. And that is getting involved in the Arizona Apprenticeship Program. Now, I see the city attorney for Peoria in the audience. He knows what this is about. This program is a program that provides on-the-job training and, in addition to technical instruction, to individuals who are recent graduates or maybe recent college graduates. It is a terrific program. There are employers throughout the state supporting it. There are 3 cities currently that I'm aware of participating in it, but on a limited basis, and that's Peoria, Mesa, and Yuma. And in particular, the program is very flexible. You not only have encouragement, obviously, to participate, but you also get a great deal of assistance in formulating your particular program. There is already an occupation called paralegal that is one of the quote-unquote apprenticeable occupations recognized under this program, but Arizona also allows you to create additional programs. And so I would propose, at a minimum, we look at the paralegal program. The benefit is this individual comes in and they work day one, and they're coming in at 50% of the wage of a skilled worker, okay, a skilled paralegal. They're going to get wage increases as they become more proficient, up to essentially 90 to 95% of the skilled worker's wage by the time they're at the tail end of their apprenticeship. The apprenticeship period is typically 3 to 4 years, although it can vary from 1 to 6 years. But it is an amazing opportunity for job creation for people who, as we know, have had a great deal of difficulty finding work. Recent college grads have, in this economy, it's been very difficult. And we could pave the way, the town could pave the way to promote programs like this for job creation within the community. Similarly, the internship program is along the same lines, has the same kind of policy implications and cost-effective implications. I used to teach a class called Intro to Law for BASIS, and I had an amazing bunch of students who were very interested in pursuing a legal career. To this day, I continue to get calls, emails, asking for internships. I need one. Whatever, I'll do whatever. You know, I just want to be a lawyer. You know, I just want to learn more about the law. So I think what better place than to have a municipality make those opportunities available to the youth of the community and to, you know, folks that are in college that have gone to school here in Arizona. Make those things available. They can be paid, they can be unpaid. Obviously the pay is a lot less, but you're cultivating, you know, you're giving these people valuable experience. You're getting some benefit from these individuals who, in my experience, some of them are very capable and very able to do legal research and things like that to contribute to the department. So those are the kinds of things that I'd like to see put in place first. And they're cost effective. They send a great message to the community. And then if and when an assistant town attorney is called for, we can go out and we can recruit for that position. But at the start, I think it would be premature to go ahead and you know, open a position for that until you really get the lay of the land of what the legal needs are and requirements are. I wouldn't go that far. I would stop at the paralegal process, and I would try to get an apprenticeship program and internship program in process. Okay, I would also look to collaborate with the prosecutor's office. I don't want to get involved in their day-to-day business. I know the prosecutor's sitting in the audience. Believe me, I'm sure the legal department will have plenty of things to do. Rather, I would like to look at collaborative ways, anything I can do to assist the prosecutor in more efficiently delivering service or communicating with the courts or whatever. There might be some form of technology that I can help paper, you know, a contract about or something. So I would just sit down and have a conversation. Is there anything I can do to help your department? As far as keeping the town department, legal department that I've created lean, I think it is important. You've got to have a plan to do that. It's one thing to say, I'm going to have this position, but you need to know where you're going to go in the future. I do know, I've come from that place, a lean place, where we did things, you know, and we didn't have the resources. I know how to keep it lean. And these are the issues, these are the particular things that I would do that you see listed here. I don't need to read through them all. I want to be true to my time here. But these are the techniques you use to keep it lean. Farm that litigation out if it's complex, if it requires special expertise or heavy resources. Send it outside. You've got a 30-year relationship with a great law firm. You've got other law firms in the stable that you've worked with. There's no reason to keep some of that stuff in-house. Use technology. There are a lot of benefits to technology from a public records standpoint, which a lot of times takes a tremendous amount of in-house attorney time to respond to, can cause great problems and legal fees and penalties if you don't respond on time. But if you use good technology in the way in which you put documents into the system, you have a good retention process, and you have a good set of technology to search records online, you can save so much time and get that responded to timely without taking up a lot of the attorney's time. I also would look at standardized legal templates where I can put something in place that staff can access and use as a form. Why not? You know, anything I can do to make their job easier and just cut down having to deal with the legal department. And then the rest of them are fairly self-explanatory. I would just comment on the last one, which is a contract attorney. These are people who are independent contractors. They're not employees. So in a time where you've got a very time-intensive project on your hands that's not necessarily legally complex, but it's going to take a lot of time away from what the town attorney has to deal with. You can hire somebody just on a temporary basis, pay them by the hour. There's a lot of good contract attorneys out there, and that's what I would propose to do in those one-off circumstances where you just need an extra hand. I guess the one thing I neglected to mention too, just briefly, is you saw the arrows going like this. To me, it's all about collaboration. I am not a top-down manager. I don't believe in that style. I believe in a collaborative arrangement. I believe that everybody is a team player, and we all work together to get the work done. There is nobody that is above doing a particular type of task. If somebody's got to cover for somebody else, they do what they have to do to get the work done. So that's the approach I would take. I think it leads to innovation. I think it prevents duplication of effort. I think it leads to camaraderie, a morale boost, and retention. Okay, as far as question number 2, do I have a plan? And what is my performance plan? I do have a plan. Every attorney has a plan when they come in. 3 minutes, I gotta move. Okay, so in a nutshell, my plan is I'm gonna do 3 things. I'm not gonna go through all my tasks because council has the benefit of the list of tasks for the 30-day, the 90-day, and the 180-day. You can read through those. I've categorized them for you. But they're all a function of 3 things: assessing current risk and minimizing it, proactively looking at issues that create future risk, and finally, making the legal services accessible and cost-effective and promptly and timely delivered. So each one of these tasks, I have highlighted and categorized, showing you which function I'm proposing to perform here. So let me get to the bottom line, which is the long-term strategy for the organization. This is my wish, my strategic plan for the town legal department. This is what I want it to be 3 to 5 years down the road. I want it to be unmatched in productivity, innovation, and cost effectiveness, staffed by top-notch individuals. And not only that, though, I want them to like where they work, like who they work with, and want to stay there. I want them to have a commitment to delivering the best product possible and in delivering their legal services to the town. And finally, this is last on the list, but in my view, it should be first. No matter what they do in the legal department, there is a code of ethics they have to follow, and there's a level of integrity they have to follow. And so this is a tall order, but this is what I would like to see. So are there any questions? Probably not time for questions. So with that, I will turn it over to the next candidate. Thank you. Let me escape out of there. Thanks. Here you go.
Nick, come on down. Colleen, thank you. Appreciate that. I'm pleased to introduce the next candidate. And Nick, pleasure to meet you. Welcome. And let me practice this for the rest of us too. D. Piazza?
Yes, perfect.
Okay. Nick D. Piazza is the Chief Deputy City Attorney for the City of Glendale. Was recently appointed its interim city attorney. Prior to joining Glendale, he served as the Assistant Director for Plans with the Governor's Office of Homeland Security for the state of Arizona. Before moving to Arizona, Nick served in the United States Navy in law enforcement and Homeland Security positions after being recalled to active duty following the attacks of September 11, 2001. Did you get a chance to see our beam out in front as you walked in?
I did.
We'll tell you more about that, but right now, please welcome Nick with a nice big round of applause.
That's fine. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. Mayor, members of the council, staff, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to begin by just giving a brief introduction. I am Nick D. Piazza. I am now the acting city attorney for the city of Glendale. I began as a naval officer on active duty and then moved into the reserves. I served as a New York City prosecutor, moved from there to private practice in New York City and did that for a number of years. And then I established my own law firm. It was a solo practice, and I maintained and managed that practice successfully for 19 years. On 9/11, a surprise to us all, I was recalled to active service, and I served for 3 additional years on active duty, first at Naval Sea Systems Command as their Deputy Director of Security and Law Enforcement, and then a few months later, the concept of Homeland Security developed. I became the Director of Homeland Security for Fleet Forces Command at headquarters in Norfolk, Virginia, and I served in that capacity for just under 3 years. I was then finally retired and returned to civilian life. I came to Arizona, which was a dream that my wife and I shared for many, many years. And since I had to start life over again, it was a great place to begin. Initially, I worked for the Governor's Office of Homeland Security, and after a year, I had the opportunity to join the city of Glendale, and it was a great opportunity to return to the practice of law, something that I always enjoyed and looked forward to returning to. I've been with the city of Glendale for 8 years. I began as a deputy city attorney, and I concentrated in litigation. I became the chief deputy, and very recently took the position of acting city attorney, and that's where I serve now. With that brief introduction, I'd like to move into my presentation. What I've been asked to do here today is describe for you how I would build an in-house legal capability if selected as your first in-house town attorney. I think the best place to start is to have a mission statement, a statement of purpose, a statement of intent. And this is my mission as I see it, to provide those high-quality legal services, legal advice to the town of Gilbert with integrity, professionalism, and respect for clients and also for the community. I think the challenge that will be faced is to develop a framework for an efficient in-house capability to include a model that has been developed by the City Council, and that model includes a town attorney, an assistant town attorney, one legal assistant, and the employment of outside counsel. How's that going to be achieved? And I think the answer is through a process. And the process that I envision is a process that will take about 180 days, and it'll include a number of steps that I'll go through one at a time. I think first it's important to establish lines of communication, to establish trust and confidence, because that's what's most necessary in the attorney-client relationship. The way I'm going to achieve that is through outreach. I think it's important for whoever is selected as the town attorney to integrate with the mayor and council, with the city manager, with all the department heads, and with the staff at the ground roots level. Also to interact with the community at every available opportunity, to then also interact with the outside counsel that currently serve the town, and then also to begin dialogue with sister city attorneys' offices. The next step in the process is data collection. I think it's important to identify the town's requirements. What are the needs of the client? And what I'll be looking for is, what are your service needs? What are your legal issues? What are your expectations? What are the priorities of the client? What are your preferences? I want to look also at how legal services are currently provided and look at the cost of services as they are currently provided. The next step is analysis. I think once we identify the services that can be provided in-house, we need to look at how we deal with services in general. The key considerations, I think, will be expertise. Is it resident, or should we look to outside counsel? Efficiency. Is it more efficient to do it in-house or to continue to outsource? Resource management. When you're running a lean office, you can't afford to be a one-case attorney, a one-issue attorney. Resource management becomes important. And then, of course, cost considerations must also be considered. In order to do this analysis, I think it's important to engage key shareholders, stakeholders in the process. It's not what I think that counts, it's what the client needs that really counts. So I think we need to build a consensus, build partnerships within the city or the town, and also with the people that we're going to collaborate with in order to decide what the shape of this new office will be. After we've decided that, after we've decided exactly what we envision being done in-house and what will continue to be done by outside counsel, I think it's important that we talk about staffing the team. In order to do that, I would leverage HR, get together and talk about job descriptions, talk about classifications, and then develop a recruitment plan. We know that we need to hire an assistant town attorney and a legal assistant. And a legal assistant, in my view, is an important position. It would be a paralegal with skills that are consistent with the in-house needs of the office. The next step is to actually fill those key positions. The next thing that we need to discuss is budget. And in that regard, I would engage the city manager, finance, and of course the city council. The key considerations are what we envision the in-house costs to be. Obviously, we're walking on fresh snow. We don't know because it's never been done in the town. And also look to the cost of outside counsel. I have a performance plan. The performance plan envisions in 30 days to open those lines of communication, to aggressively reach out and communicate with people and start collecting that data. Hopefully in the 30 to 45-day range, that initial data collection should be complete. Initial data collection, I think it's a process. I think that you continue to learn as you continue in the process. At about 90 days, I'd like to have the analysis complete. I'd like to be able to consult with council, the city manager, finance, and HR, address those staffing issues, recruiting issues, and budget issues. And I would expect that in 180 days, we should be fully operational. That is not to say that we will have achieved the vision. We'll be fully operational, we'll be able to function and coordinate all of our duties amongst staff, in-house, and of course with outside counsel. I think it's important to have a target, to have a vision, to know where you want to be in the future. The mission statement is our reason for existence. The vision statement is what we hope to achieve. We want to be the finest municipal law office in the state. We want to have an excellent in-house capability that effectively integrates the resources and capabilities of outside counsel who will continue to be called on to do the lion's share of the work. I want to foster a customer-oriented culture based on communication, cooperation, transparency, trust, and I want to constantly represent the town's interests and support its strategic plan. That's my plan. That's what I intend to accomplish if selected as your first in-house town attorney. Subject to your questions, that concludes my brief. Thank you for your attention.
Joseph? As they say on one TV show, come on down. This is Joseph Padilla. Currently serves as the Senior Assistant City Attorney for the City of Scottsdale, where he handles matters related to real estate transactions, planning and zoning, land and economic development, and land use litigation. Before working for Scottsdale, he was Deputy City Attorney for Mesa, Arizona, supervising the work of 6 attorneys in Mesa's administrative unit. Previous legal practice has included private practice and serving as a prosecutor for the City of Phoenix. Please join me in another nice big round of applause for welcoming Joseph Padilla.
I'd like to thank the mayor, the council, and the members of the public for this opportunity. I too would like to just give a little more information about myself. First of all, I grew up in Gilbert. I grew up in Gilbert in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and so I remember this town a little differently, but just still have such a desire to work here and continue being associated with the town. I first started public practice in 1979. I was a assistant city prosecutor with the city of Phoenix, and one of the things that I learned about that experience is how do you manage an office that just has a voluminous amount of work with you have a budget and you have to handle the resources appropriately so that you can get the cases handled in a efficient manner. So I was there about 4 years, and I did learn quite a bit about processing voluminous cases, voluminous volumes of cases, and so I took that experience with me after a while, and I went into the private sector in about 1984, and I thought, how do I set my office up so that I can compete with the big firms? I was going to be handling a private practice that was going to involve the large firms on the other side. And so the one thing I took from the city of Phoenix was, you know, they used a lot of technology. They used a lot of information, even back in the late 70s, that was digital. And so I thought, well, in the private sector, I'm going to have to compete with firms that have a lot more money and a lot more resources, and how do we do it? And so technology seemed to be the key in the early 80s for competing with the big firms. And so I thought, well, let's go ahead and get the equipment and get the technology that the big firms have. And so we did that. We set up our practice, and we were able to compete with that. And so I learned a lot from being able to compete with big law on the other side, your small office, and staying within your budget. Very important thing to be able to manage. After 15 years, I went to the city of Mesa. I was actually a outside counsel, one of the outside counsels for the city. I was handling negligence design of roads and tort cases for the city on a defense basis. And they had an opening there. They wanted to build an inside litigation unit and an inside administrative unit. And so the city attorney at that time had an opening, and I applied and I got the job. And one of my job functions there was to go in there and pretty much from scratch set up a unit within the city attorney's office. And so I did that and got the knowledge of how do you work with a government organization. And so I was there for 7 years, set up an administrative unit, supervised 6 attorneys, and got functioning in a very, very efficient, cost-effective manner. From there, I went to the city of Scottsdale, and in the city of Scottsdale, I went to an existing system, but I took a look around there and said, you know, how can we do things better? And so I thought the attorneys were working hard in their areas of expertise, but I thought maybe I could contribute something, and so I came up with a plan to increase their use of interns, externs, and law clerks, and so implemented a new system in place there that then freed up the city attorneys to handle a lot more of their day-to-day work. And so I thought, you know, this is cost effective, and as my time there has grown, I've improved that system to where we're now using 3 or 4 interns, law clerks per semester, and getting approximately 1,200 hours a year out of them. And so that's cost effective. The reason I mention that is because one of the goals here of the council is to implement a law office that doesn't turn into a large in-house counsel office. And how would I do that? Well, I would do that by the use of technology. You had to have to create a system, I think, that is an efficient system. It's an electronically based template system, and that would work for easily for the employees and the attorneys in the office. And so technology is key to that. Templates, easy to use request for services system, setting up a document management system. One thing about a law office is that it creates a lot of paper, and if you don't keep track of it, you'll lose it. pleadings and filings. So you need to set that up. I would set up external links to that so that key management staff would have access to that information. Create an easy-to-use request for legal services form. That's key. I learned that in the city of Mesa. When work comes in, you have to track it. I would set that system up so that it's easy to use and it's tied into an efficient filing system. Also, you need to create an expectation of when the work will be returned. So you want to have a system in place to where an employee makes a request for legal services of a contract, and they know that if that contract is a basic development agreement, they will get a response within 5 days that we got the draft, we got it, we're working on it, here's your draft. If it's a little more complex, then the response may be in 5 days. But there needs to be some system in place for the employees to be able to depend on so that they can budget within their time frames the fact that they're going to get a contract or something back at a certain time. I've also got a lot of experience managing outside counsel at the city of Mesa. That was one of the things that I handled in the administrative unit. And so as far as setting up an in-house counsel system, that's a key factor. You manage outside counsel by having regular status reports, progress on cases, examining billings for their reasonableness in light of the complexity of the case. You discuss strategy, you become involved in the course of action, you become involved in the hiring of expert witnesses, and the cost of the outside counsel has to be monitored and maintained at a reasonable rate. Those are the things that are necessary in managing outside counsel. I think you also need to be involved in negotiations, settlement discussions with outside counsel. You have to be there at the table. You can't just let go of it, specifically high-profile cases. You need to be involved in discussions with outside counsel concerning the strategy and proposed theories of cases. You need to be able to assist in that manner. And oftentimes, your outside counsel billing can get high. You want to take a look at that every once in a while. You want to probably test the market, put a RFP out for services, and so that you can basically see if the competition out there and what you're paying is in line with each other. I think a in-house city attorney's office should have a training program to prevent claims against the city. You work with your risk management department. You put in place a yearly training program for town staff to identify potential risks and ways to prevent claims against the city. I think that's an important concept of your town attorney's office. And of course, you have to attend regular meetings and discuss with risk staff the evolution of a case, whether it should be sent out, kept in. Those are critical meetings. They need to be happening at a regular and early basis on cases, and I think that's part of a town attorney's position. I'm also a believer in teamwork. I think that coordinating your assignments with your staff, with your secretary, as well as your city department clients is an important factor in having a in-house town attorney position that is efficient and that is economically run and provides high-quality services. You also need to make sure that as part of your teamwork, your staff is available to the mayor, city council, city manager, and his managers to provide timely, quality legal advice on an as-needed basis. And so going on teamwork, I think one of the things that's then necessary in the first 30 days is to meet with the mayor, meet with the town council, town manager, and departments and division managers to get their input on what they believe should be the most efficient and effective system to deliver those services. And that's critical to me, and that's one of the things I would do in the first 30 days. I would also, in the first 30 days, review and become familiar with the town's administrative regulations and policies. I would review the Gilbert Plan, the Gilbert General Plan, excuse me. I'd become familiar with the town council's goals and policies for economic development, land entitlements, financing, debt, use of incentives to attract business. Those are things that I would think are critical for a town attorney in the first 30 days to know and understand. I would meet with Ms. Goodwin. I think that's something that you're going to do maybe in the first couple days. to discuss the pending cases. She's represented the city for a long, long time. She's got some great ideas, and I'd like to tap into her wealth of knowledge in order to be able to see how she did it. I would also look and discuss with the current outside counsel what the status of cases are, where they are in the process for that, and how could our firm, our in-house town attorney firm, assist in maybe cutting costs and assist in moving a case forward or towards settlement to effectively and efficiently accomplish a goal in that particular case. In the first 30 days, would also talk with the Human Resource Department council members about starting the process for hiring the assistant city attorney and the legal secretary. I think, going back to my concept of teamwork, I think the quicker you get those that personnel in place, the quicker you can start your concept of building a town attorney's office with everybody on the same page. So I think that's one of the first things I would do, is to talk to HR and start that process. And then, of course, I think in the first 30 days, I would also handle the day-to-day legal requests that come into the city. I would start basically going to work. I think it's also important to meet with the town prosecutor to get some ideas on how her office is run. I think that's a good resource. I'd like to tap into it. And so I think that seeing how another office that has come in and set up and how they're operating is a critical component to understanding the organizational structure they have fit in. You want to copy that, copy the things that work. Within the next 90 days, I would have hoped to have started and completed the hiring process for the city attorney and the legal secretary. I would hope by that time to have gotten started on an electronic template brief bank with links for city employees to access data, to access templates and contracts. I think that's a key component to an efficiently run office, to where people can begin their own work, take the shot at the first draft and give it back, and then the town attorney and his assistant will finish the work. I think that it's important to set up an internship, externship program with the 3 law schools, ASU, U of A, and the Phoenix School of Law. I was involved in setting that up in the city of Mesa. I am now involved in running that and improving on it in the city of Scottsdale. And as I said before, it's a heck of a way to get excellent legal research services, freeing up the town attorney, his assistant, to do other work, and while they're getting good quality legal research help from, really top quality candidate, JD candidates. Still within the first 90 days, I would like to be able to have set up a fiscally responsible budget, implementing objective standards to stay within the budget, monitor expenditures, ensure the spending is within budgetary allotments, put in place a system that keeps the mayor, the town council, and management informed about any potential liability through regular and consistent timely communication. I think those things are kind of key to keeping the city council informed as to the status of pending cases. I think by the time 180 days comes and goes, I think that you would expect, and I know I would, that the electronic system would be in place, the document management system would be in place, the electronic template system would be in place, and we would have a system set up where the employees can routinely and freely access legal services request forms, and they would be able to then accomplish a lot of the legal work through initial drafts and then sending it over for us to finalize. I would also expect by the 180th day to have accomplished all of the goals in the first 90 days, and by that time I would have, and I think the city council town council would have an expectation that I would have an office in place with an assistant, with a secretary, that is now fully functional, providing timely legal services to the mayor, the town council, the managers, boards and commissions, and the departments and employees. And that would be the goal at the end of 180 days. I think that the 5-year mission statement would be this, that the town's attorney endeavors to efficiently provide timely, high-quality legal services to the mayor, town council, managers, and employees of the town, and to ensure that all citizens are treated fairly and with respect, and to continue improving the method, manner, and cost-effectiveness of providing legal services. And so in the end, the approach I would take would be a hands-on approach, getting to work, getting into the weeds, detailing what is necessary to set up an office, and then working to set that office up. I also am a visionary in that I would hope that the office, after it is set up, is going to be run in an efficient manner now and in the future, and it will continue to improve. It will continue to find ways to provide additional quality legal services, and hopefully with an efficient system, more work can be kept in and less work can be sent out. I understand that there will be times that specialized needs, specialized types of cases need to be sent out. That will be done. I'm not one of those people that keeps everything in house and to the detriment of the city. But I am one of those attorneys that thinks that a lot of work can be done with an efficient system, and so I would think that we would keep a lot of work in-house. We'd be able to generate a lot of work at a cost savings to the city, to the town. Thank you.
As Michael makes his way down, I'll put on my glasses. Michael Hamblin, service to the City of Phoenix spans 27 years, where he now serves as Assistant Chief Counsel and manages 5 attorneys in the areas of human resources and equal opportunity, finance, human services, and intergovernmental relations. Previous assignments while with Phoenix have included Assistant City Attorney with the Public Services, Land Use and Development, and Human Resources sections of its Civil Division, and Assistant City Prosecutor within the Special Prosecutions, Appeals, and Trial Bureaus of its Criminal Division.
Get rid of this stuff here. How to go full screen.
Take the glasses off. And as we do the final touches on getting PowerPoint ready to go.
And that's all right.
Please give Michael a nice big round of applause. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the Town Council, member of the public. I guess the first test was my technological skills. We'll see how this works, and hopefully it'll work just fine. My name is Mike Hamblin. I'm an Assistant Chief Counsel with the City of Phoenix. I've been with the City of Phoenix for 27 years, and I've been a resident of Gilbert for the last 25 years. I was born and raised in Mesa. I am honored to be considered for this position with 3 other excellent candidates. I've been tasked with making a presentation on how I would organize a town attorney office, given the confines of non-expansion, that it's not going to grow, and what is my goals or my vision or my objectives in the first 30, 90, and 180 days, and what is my 3 to 5 year vision for the town attorney office. Of course, first I think you need to start out with a mission statement, and it's posted there: to provide effective legal services to the mayor, town council, town manager, and town departments. Of course, to be effective, they must be cost effective. But the town has been clear. Thank you. The town has been clear to not anticipate growth. So consequently, with the positions of a town attorney and assistant town attorney, of course, much of this depends on how the qualifications of the assistant. But one way that I envisioned dividing the work between the town attorney and the assistant town attorney is as follows. And that is that the town attorney, of course, would be responsible to the mayor and council. And the town attorney would manage the vast majority of the litigation and other issues involving outside counsel. For the last 17 years with the City of Phoenix, I have had not only a personal caseload of cases that I've handled, but also managed the outside litigation of about 4 to 8 cases at any one time. Most of those involve HR matters, personnel matters, also land use matters. And I'm involved from the time of hiring the firm to having the contract signed by the firm, involved in review of the bills, read all substantive pleadings, and approve them before they're filed. I'm involved in the presentation before the council in executive session regularly on how those cases should be resolved, settled, or litigated. And so for the last 17 years, the City of Phoenix, I have been involved with the management of litigation and with outside counsel, expressing both pleasure and displeasure with their performance at times. I would be in charge if the town attorney with the human resources, planning and zoning departments. I was the primary human resources attorney for the City of Phoenix for 9 years. Thereafter, I became the planning and zoning attorney for the City of Phoenix for 9 years after that. And then the last couple of years, a year and a half, I've been supervising the 3 HR attorneys, or the personnel employment-related attorneys, with the City of Phoenix, and three attorneys also involved with the finance departments and the budget and research department. I would handle the work of the police department as necessary. I was a prosecutor for 8 years, familiar with police procedure, and I've also, because I was the leading HR attorney with the City of Phoenix for the years that I mentioned, I'm also very familiar with police HR issues, police operations orders, and police needs. I was also the attorney for the fire department for 4 years, primarily in the area of fire code enforcement. I would also handle the work of the Office of Communications. I've done that type of work with the City of Phoenix, the Public Information Office, the Economic Development Department, and the Intergovernmental Relations Department. One of my assignments at this time is to be a lead attorney with our Intergovernmental Relations Department. And that is, I meet with the internal and the external lobbyists each week. I review bills. I craft suggested legislative changes that our lobbyists then take to the legislature and testify at the legislature, and write letters encouraging the governor to veto various and sundry pieces of legislation. Been involved with all those processes. Right now, I've since January, made written comments on 150 pieces of legislation and kept up with their amendments and the various strikers that have occurred. January is a rather hectic month with the beginning of the legislative session. I'm familiar with open meeting law, having represented the Board of Adjustment Development Advisory Board, the Fire Safety Advisory Board, the Rehabilitation Appeals Board, and the City Pension Board, and a couple of others that I can't remember. Also familiar with public records. City of Phoenix gets numerous public records requests, as I imagine the town of Gilbert does, particularly in the area of personnel matters, HR matters. I'm familiar with those, deal with those regularly, and I know that's a big part of the time, the time consumption that occurs within a municipality is dealing with the public records requests. Based on my experience, I would handle the personnel matters, the labor relations matters, the EEO matters, and First Amendment issues for all departments. As I mentioned, for 9 years, I was the HR attorney, and consequently, as a result of that, I've been involved in numerous labor negotiations numerous issues regarding union complaints of unfair labor practices and literally hundreds of civil service appeals and hearings and their aftermath. The assistant, again, this is flexible depending upon the skill set of the assistant town attorney. But I would anticipate something that person would review contracts, procurement, finance and management, public works, library, parks, recreation, information technology, management and budget, and water resources. Now, I have represented the human services department of the City of Phoenix for 19 years. They face a lot of the issues that are addressed in what I have under the assistant town attorney column. That is, I review 6 to 8 contracts a week. I have been involved in procurement and development agreements and many issues that a standard department unrelated to their HR issues would deal with, and I've had that experience. Of course, the third person would be the administrative assistant or secretary. I've also had experience with copyright, elections, involved in fact, a lawsuit against the state right now with regards to consolidated elections. Cell tower, procurement, and bid protests. I'm familiar with the law in those areas. Our service standards and philosophy would be to do our part to achieve the town goal of high-performing government, to do our part to achieve the town vision to provide best-in-class legal services, and to deliver essential legal services to enhance Gilbert's quality of life by helping the mayor, town council to implement objectives and expand services in a legal and effective manner. I accept and agree with the vision of the city manager, or the town manager, pardon me. I accept that is of value, integrity, respect, accountability, innovation, learning, and communication. And as those principles would apply to a town attorney's office, we will, of course, work with integrity to assure compliance with the law and adherence to ethical standards. That, of course, is paramount. We will show respect. I understand and agree that we are public servants and that our employer is the citizens of the town of Gilbert. And the town attorney's office will be courteous and respectful while zealously representing the interests of the town of Gilbert. The office will be accountable, responsible to the mayor, the town manager, the town departments, and the public. We will seek to innovate, use affordable technology to deliver cost-effective legal services with templates, brief banks, forms, and other ways in which to save resources. Explore new ways to reach mayor, council, and manager objectives. We will be a department or an office that it seeks to be constantly learning, to stay current on issues and cases that affect the town. And we will communicate with our clients. We will inform our clients on status and latest developments with regular reports. Continuing on with the service standards and philosophy, you will have, and as necessary and as desired, 24-hour, 7-day-a-week legal access. When I put this there and I wrote this down, I had in mind, someone representing the police department, which of course is, or the public safety departments, which of course are 24-hour operations. During our meet and greet, I met Kate and saw that you had very good legal representation. But that's the philosophy that I would hope to bring to this office. I'd have an open door policy. Come down and see me, call me, I'll be over. That's the type of service that I would hope to render, that our office would hope to render. I think you'd be pleasantly surprised at how, as city staff and as city leaders, how, and this is of course not to criticize the current arrangement, but you'll be pleasantly surprised at how accessible people will be when their office is down the hall. When you can walk down the hall with a sheet of paper and say, Mike, we got this letter, how should we deal with it? We will be available for that because that's why we're here. We'll implement the policies and programs established by the town manager, or the town manager and the mayor and council. The town attorney, of course, does not set policy or establish objectives, does not have any goals, political or otherwise, other than to provide good, best-in-class, top-quality legal services. The policy, the direction, the goals are all determined by the town council. The implementation is determined by the town manager. And of course, as the town attorney, town attorney's office, we would understand that. Within 30 days, I will have met individually with the mayor, council members, town manager, and department heads regarding their needs and develop and continually adjust action plan and service standards accordingly. What do you want? What do you need? How can we help? What issue would you like us to address? Those things will be addressed and be met individually with those people indicated within the first 30 days. I will be familiar and actively manage all pending litigation and have met with outside counsel for updates as necessary, and of course have met with Ms. Goodwin regarding the issues, legal issues facing the town. Within 30 days of hire also, we'll have obtained client files from Curtis Goodwin, PLC. We'll begin the hiring process for assistant town attorney and administrative assistant and secretary. We will establish office service standards within 30 days to best address and respond to client needs. With the idea is that when a staff member makes a call to the attorney's office, they will get a return call within 24 hours. Of course, things have priorities. Town manager calls, we respond right away. A rank and file member of the staff calls, our goal will be to respond within 24 hours. And that within 5 business days, questions will be answered by questions of members of the staff. Also within 30 days, we'll have met with the Office of Management and Budget to develop a budget for the town attorney's office. Within 90 days of hire, I'll have a working knowledge of the Gilbert Municipal Code and the Land Development Code and the town development plan and economic plan for the town. We'll have hired staff attorney and the administrative assistant secretary. I'll understand existing selection practices, contracts, billings, and all aspects of representation by outside counsel, and instituted or suggested changes as necessary to conform with best practices. Does our contract with outside counsel contain all the provisions it needs? Does it address the contingencies that are likely to come up and perhaps some contingencies that aren't very likely to come up? Does our method of selecting counsel ensure the best representation at the best price? Those things will be reviewed and suggestions will be made and changes made within 90 days. Additionally, I will have a working knowledge of town procurement practices as well as town policies and regulations. I will have developed and completed quarterly conflict of interest training. And within 90 days, I'll have reviewed the town's records management system relative to the needs of the town attorney's office. Within 180 days, I'll have working knowledge of all files, all client files from Curtis Goodwin, PLC. We will have developed forms and research files for the efficient delivery of services. I'll continue to meet with all department heads on suggestions and needed service improvements, all within 180 days. I'll have a working knowledge of all town written policies, practices, and procedures, and I imagine there's quite a few of them. Memos here and there, or perhaps administrative regulations, all assembled in one place. I will be familiar with those within 180 days. I will develop with the purchasing specialists contracts and purchasing training program for town officials and staff involved in procuring goods and services within 180 days. I will continue to meet with department heads and elected officials as to see how we're doing, to improve our practices, to see if we're meeting the goals as set forth in this performance plan. 3 to 5 year town vision, or vision for the town attorney's office, to have done all possible to assist the mayor and council to reach the objectives of the town, to provide superior cost-effective legal services to the mayor, town council, and town departments, to have regularly and consistently met all established service standards, and to have productive, harmonious labor relations with excellent service and good value to the public. For it's they we serve, and I'm committed to serving this town that I've enjoyed living in these last 25 years, and an honor to be considered. And I appreciate your consideration, and thank you for your time. Thank you.
Mark, if you can please come up here and stand to my right. I don't know if Mark was introduced already, but the individual that has organized all of the events and brought the Ford candidates here and organized the panels is Mark Boynton. Please give him a nice big round of applause. And Mark, you can be my quality advisor for the next couple of minutes as I talk about what will happen next. And if I miss anything, you quickly grab the mic and we'll clarify it. For the four of you, we again express appreciation. You have put a lot of effort into what happened before you came today and then what you've done. We thank you for being available for the meet and greet before. The next few minutes, we've got some more time where right outside of council chambers, the individuals here at council chambers and others who may come in the next few minutes will have a chance to get to know you. This will be probably not a lot of the technical questions and detailed questions. It'll be more, how's your March Madness bracket? Have you ever been to Joe's Barbecue? If you were to find a spot in Gilbert you'd like to go visit, where would it be? Riparian Park, things like that. If the town manager comes up to you and says something like, do you like the Cardinals? He's tricking you. He's trying to get you to say yes, meaning Arizona Cardinals. Of course, we love them. And for baseball, we like the Diamondbacks. But he's really leading you down a path, trying to get you to say yes, but he means the St. Louis Cardinals. And to be best in class, of course, we're focused on world champion teams. Is that enough, Patrick? Should we move on? All right, back to you. So for the next few minutes, though, it will be just casual conversation to get to know you and for you to get to know us, too. And then at some point, for the four candidates, if all of a sudden it looks like we're not caring about you, that is a good sign, because that means you've just been brought right into the Gilbert family. And Operation Welcome Home will begin at 6 o'clock, and a few minutes before the final setup, and we'll just bring everyone outside of council chambers and prepare for the two individuals who will be welcomed home and will be highlighted and honored at 6 o'clock, and we invite you to stay for that too. At 7, our town council meeting will begin, and that'll give you a chance to see the town council in action, citizens come, and lots of great things that occur in the town of Gilbert. And then we invite the four candidates to just depart, get a good night's rest, and come back tomorrow. I believe it's 8:30 when the four candidates need to be here, but the panel members are at 8. Is that right? So at 8 o'clock, and we have in council chambers individuals who are part of the three different panels. One panel is the town council. The other panel is town leadership and stakeholders, and then the third panel are those who have legal expertise, some of the individuals who have worked with the town for years, others who have been very into the details of some of the legal matters. And so we thank all of you here in council chambers for the efforts and the time commitments and what you've done in the town in the past, and for these 2 days and being very involved in helping us with the final selection. So all panel members will meet tomorrow at 8 up in room 300, as on the second floor of this building. We'll have our final piece of information given to us, and then the interviews will begin at 8:30. Did I miss anything, Mark? Okay. So on that note, and Nick, by the way, former Vice Mayor John Sense, he's also wanting to talk to you about the Navy, and he's going to be excited. He has a little bias there too, and helps with our Veterans Day celebration, so that'll be good. But all four candidates will just have fun getting to have some more time with you. And would you say, Mark, is it scheduled to 5:45-ish? Is that, or 5 and 6? All right. So we'll go all the way till 6. But again, if we start to pull you out, that's a chance for us to have you join the Welcome Home team. So again, Mark, thank you to the four candidates. Thank you for being here. We will officially adjourn this portion of of the selection process. I did see on the agenda it said motion to adjourn, and maybe I could formally do that just for sake of, is there a motion to adjourn? And a second? Adjourned. Thank you.